to the Supreme God, to the Divine Father, Divine Mother. We humbly invoke for your divine blessings. To all the great spiritual teachers and saints, we thank you. To all the avatars, prophets, messiahs, we thank you. Thank you for all the priceless blessings, especially deeper understanding, intuition, ability to understand the subject of emotional challenges that we go through in life. Thank you for providing us with the solutions so that we can be more prepared, more refined for greater service to others and improve the quality of our life physically and psychologically and spiritually. With thanks and in full faith. Inhale slowly, exhale slowly. You may slowly open your eyes with a big, big smile. All right, so in today's, today is our day 2. Let's say officially day 1 because yesterday there were only few people in the beginning. So let's first set, what the objective of this program is. Again, it's a reminder. So the purpose of this program is to deeply understand first how our emotions work. How it's like we know very little about ourselves, beyond the physical body. We are very unconscious in the area where it comes to our psychological behavior, emotionally, mentally, and that is why one of the battlegrounds where we are facing challenge is on the emotional and mental level, but more importantly on the emotional level, because there is still a very small class of people all over the world who we can call very, very mentally polarized. Most of us, we are still emotionally polarized. Most of our challenges that we face in our day-to-day life are connected to our inability to understand or regulate our feelings, true or not true. Can you keep the video on during the session so I can see your responses also, if that's okay? Do you get my point? My point is one of the reasons why we are stuck in our life in different situations is our inability to process or understand the emotional experiences that we go through. And because of that, sometimes either we become excessively expressive emotionally, so maybe in an explosive way, in a harmful way that hurts others, or sometimes we become so it's like suppressive, right? So what happens is, in such case, we harm ourselves rather than other person. We start harming ourselves, and that emotion in long run becomes a disease, a materialization of a certain disease in our body. Yes. So one of the objectives in this session is to first understand how emotions work over a period of sessions. Then the second is to identify our own emotional challenges, personal emotional challenges, which in the coming week you are going to share with us. So as we said, after we finish this free week, we are going to ask you, going to give you a form, and we are going to ask you to share your own challenges which you are facing, which will be discussed in the group without taking the name of the person. It's like a case study. So we will give you like 7-8 questions, and you have to honestly give the answer. So we will use the word subject whenever we will read the case study, and then as a group we will reflect on the possible learnings and solutions to the problem. That is one. Second, at the end of the session, for the last maybe 15-20 minutes, we will also do different methods of healing, not just pranic psychotherapy or not just like forgiveness, but different methods which will help uncover or help us go to the deeper cause of the problem. Because it is our experience in the healing field, like I've been there for 18 years and I'm still learning, that sometimes even after doing a lot of blue triangles for erratic yogis, after doing a lot of psychotherapy or taking psychotherapy healings, sometimes you notice the problem is still there. Yes or no? Like it still persists. So how come in spite of so much healing, the problem is still there? Because we have not followed the problem to its root, and we have not eradicated the problem from the root. We have been very superficially working on it. Now, to do that, to solve the problem from its root, need help of greater awareness, and sometimes a group energy really helps. Like when you discuss the problem in a group energy, sometimes intuition comes, and then it's like, do you understand? And also, regular practice of inner silence is also helpful. So, in the coming days, we will also talk about solutions, what you can do on your own. Like what really helps us personally. Obviously, inner reflection helps, but other than that, what you have to do is think of your problem, like you want a solution for it. And every night before you go to sleep, you practice stillness. Ask the process, like you're releasing the problem to your soul, or you asking the problem to your soul, and then you just wait for the response. Now, it is not necessary that the solution will come instantly. It may appear to you as in your dream, it may come to you as a flash of inspiration next day or next week, but it'll come. So, we are going to talk about different methods through which we can, in the next 108 days, be emotionally much more refined. And so that you, the soul, can start functioning on the mental level and on the higher dimensions. Most of us are still stuck on the physical and the emotional planes. When we say stuck in terms of consciousness. So, because the emotional world, why is this so important? Is the emotional world in itself is very chaotic. Are you able to understand some of these things which I'm sharing? You just keep giving me like a thumbs up or something because I cannot see you. So I'm not sure you are able to get what we are sharing. So, based on the teachings of Theosophy, I will try to keep it as simple as possible. Now, some of you know, like, the pollution in Delhi, it's very toxic, right? Like, you see, if you go to Delhi, however healthy you will be, does not matter. If you stay there for a week or a month, you are part of that pollution. Can you avoid that pollution if you're in that city, which is very, very polluted? Yes or no? You cannot. You're going to have some or the other issue. If you are used to of living in fresh air and suddenly you're in a very toxic filled, pollution filled city, you are going to get affected in some way or other. On the similar level, now take this as an example. Think of the emotional plane. Now, we have decided in our path, in our life journey, to progress spiritually, to grow, to become a better person. But if our consciousness is on the emotional plane, it is like you want fresh air, like the fresh air in Himalayas or Rishikesh or somewhere in the nature, but you want the air to come to you in Delhi. I'm just taking an example. Do you understand? You are insisting, no, no, I will live in Delhi, but I still want fresh air. But you have to understand, in Delhi, there are crores of people living who are responsible for polluting the city. So even if you are like if you're like 1% or even 100% who are trying hard to get fresh air, it will be difficult until and unless all the crores of people take little effort to make the city pollution free. Yes or no? Is it making sense to you? So, how can in that case, I mean, the alternative in that case is you just wait till the day everyone suddenly wakes up and decides, oh my God, my city is so polluted. I need to do something. And then the government takes action, and suddenly lakhs and lakhs of people are taking effort. In that case, maybe after 50 years, who knows? People will actually, the city's energy will change, the pollution will change, and then you will have fresh air. And that will take a long, long time. Maybe you will not even exist till then. So you do not want to wait till the whole world agrees to what you think is right. Yes or no? You want to change your own life. So what you have to do is you have to go to a place, listen carefully, where which is pollution free. If you want the well-being of your family, if you want well-being of your children, and so on and so on, obviously you have to move from Delhi to a place where there is less pollution. I'm just taking this an example. I'm not blaming about every city. There are a lot of cities with lots of pollution. My point is this. Now, take this example and go to the emotional problems. Why do we need this program like this? Most of humanity, almost 80 or maybe 90% or 95% of the humanity, the consciousness is on the emotional plane. I will speak very slowly so you understand. Most human beings, their consciousness is on the emotional plane, and because of that, there are all kinds of emotional turbulence which people experience, all kinds of irritation, all kinds of anger, fear, so on and so on, which they experience, and they also radiate, exist on the emotional plane of all forms of confusions, all forms of depression, sadness, sorrow, and so on and so on. Now, if you choose not to take effort, listen carefully, to transcend your consciousness from the emotional life to a life which is rooted into higher dimensions, spiritual dimensions, what will happen is, whether you like it or not, maybe in the next 20, 30, 50 years till you're alive, nothing much will change in your life, emotionally speaking, because not every person is growing at the same pace. In fact, the majority of people living on earth are not growing at the same pace. Maybe a very minority of people are very spiritual. So we are not yet reached the point where you can say, I am comfortable being an emotional person and I want God to create some miracle out of nowhere, out of thin air, that, all my problems get solved. Do you understand? Yes, no? Can you keep the video on, please? Some of you, can you request you? Because the program is for all of us. So it's important that you participate. So the solution to the problem is to find a better space which supports your spiritual growth, which supports your ambitions, your whatever you want to achieve in life. You want better health, you want better relationships, emotionally speaking, you want a better lifestyle. All of this is possible only when we can transcend. You want to live happily, joyfully in your day-to-day life, you have to move on to a higher dimension. It means from the lower day-to-day consciousness, where you are wandering most of the time emotionally, we have to shift to a higher plane. And that is only possible when you will understand how emotions works, how your mind works, and then do some form of exercise or practice to transcend it, like we do regular physical exercises, so our physical body stays fit. But there is nothing which we do which helps us to exercise ourselves emotionally and mentally. Other than, I mean, there are techniques in Arhatic yoga, there are techniques in psychotherapy, but along with that, there has to be a system where you do certain things on a daily basis. You cannot say, oh, only when there is a program happening once in a month where I will join, and then out of thin air, suddenly all my problems will be resolved. That does not happen. Like if you go to gym only 3 times a month, cannot expect muscles to grow. Can you? No, right? So similarly, there has to be a little effort every single day, maybe for 15, 20, 30 minutes, leading to like 3 months of practice or more, or maybe a year of practice. That will actually bring the transformation. That will shift your awareness and your habitual patterns from living as a very emotionally polarized person, very reactive person, to a more stable, more calm, composed person. This will affect all areas of your life. This will affect your health. This will affect your relationships. This will affect how you live on a day-to-day basis. So that is the purpose or the objective of this program. Do you get it? If anyone has a question, they can ask. So what I thought of today was to maybe ask a few questions from you, like what are the most common emotional challenges that each one of you are going through? Maybe we'll give you a proper form later on, but for now, just for the purpose of participation, just use the chat box, or maybe if you want to speak, what are the most challenging emotions are there in your life, or emotional challenges? It could be like emotional laziness. It could be certain traumatic experiences which you have not yet overcome, which affects your day-to-day existence. I'm not talking about, something very nominal or very, very minute. I'm talking about major issues, because that is what we are going to address. And so think about it. Maybe just give me 3, 4 issues that you're facing, emotional challenges, where, for example, there is a situation and you have the option to react mentally and logically, but most of the time, the emotions win. You become reactive instead of becoming responsive. So, what are these emotions which it's like enslave you in a certain way, or bothers you? Because once you have expressed yourself explosively, angrily, or reactively, later on, when you are alone, you become guilty about it. So, what are these emotions? Give me like, so somebody said anger due to intolerance. Okay, very good. Traumatic memory of past anger, frustration, emotional availability of partner. Good. Anger. Anger due to what? So anger is like saying, like it's a very generic. So you have to specify anger due to what? Fear due to what? So that is where we are labeling the problem, and then we will define it, or expand it in the future sessions. So I just want to know what are the most common emotional challenges which are going. It could be loneliness, it could be sadness, sorrow, it could be the grief of you know losing a loved one long time ago, something. So don't just write grief. Grief due to what? Fear of what? Anger due to what? Feeling aggressive due to fill in the blanks. Fear when being controlled, of fear of losing freedom. Okay, that is more concrete when you think about it. too much comparison when done with anyone, and when your efforts are ignored. Okay, that makes sense. So this whole journey is going to be very it's like a discovery journey. We will all as a group discover a lot within us, because the more we dig, a lot will come out, and then we will heal it. So some of these issues we will like heal in a certain way today, but later on we will go, and it's like we'll do surgery. We will go to a much deeper cause. We'll start with the surface, cleaning of the surface of the problem, then we'll go deeper on a surgical level so that it gets completely eradicated. Fear of accident while riding two-wheeler. Okay. Injustice of what? Injustice in what? Yeah, fear is a very common factor that will work on. Very, very important. In fact, I read in one book, we'll be doing some readings also in the future sessions. Fear is the mother of a lot of negative emotions, fear. So we will be working on fear in the coming sessions. Deeper level of unacceptance to oneself. Unacceptance to oneself is also one of the major reasons of our emotional, how we behave emotionally. So we will go to the root cause in one of the sessions. It's like we'll take one day a topic like unacceptance to oneself. Why is it there? Then we will go to the depth of it. So there is a lot of learning. Injustice. Food addiction when emotionally low. Okay. Anxiety and nervousness when facing the society. Okay. So you see that the moment we start participating and start thinking about it, things come out. So it's good. So what we'll do is in the remaining time, we will do a ritual of sacrifice in today's session, where we will be working on one or two emotional issues. Like, let me see what we can take. Like, quickly, let's discuss for 5 minutes, then we will do the practice. I want answers from you, because this program is not where I am speaking and you're listening. It's a participative program. It's like group counseling, okay? It's like group therapy, or what you call as support group. So why do you think is many of us have the problem of self-acceptance? Let's start from this. You can unmute yourself and also share, or you can type also. So why do you think, and let's first let's say take a vote. How many of you have the problem accepting yourself wholeheartedly? Just raise your hands if that problem is there. It's like you have difficulty accepting yourself, every aspect of yourself, or a majority of your personality, you cannot deal with it, you cannot accept it. Only 1% raised hand. Everyone else are comfortable accepting themselves as they are. Come on. Your feedback means that you're present and you're participating. This is not a workshop. This is a community we have created where we will actually solve the problem. So only 3 people have raised the hand. So I assume the rest of you also may have this issue. Now, the next question is, why do you think, or why is there lack of self-acceptance? And what part of yourself you cannot accept? You can put, like private chat also share, so that if you're not comfortable sharing with the rest, you can. And we are here, the whole group is to help each other. There's no judgment. So the question is, why cannot we accept ourselves? Yes, Seema, you want to share something? You want to say something? आप अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं, or you can just type and share. Somebody is writing 70% acceptance. What does it mean? 80%? 80%, 70%? How did you come to that, like, conclusion? And even if like it's 70%, 80%, why not 100%? What is that 30% part of you that you cannot accept? That is where the darkness is. We need to shed some light on it, so that we can see it and then we can accept it, understand it first. So at least type, or maybe someone can share. Why do you not accept yourself wholeheartedly? A few part of it, like short temperament, being reactive rather than responsive at times. Yes. So what I expect from you is sharing. Why do you not accept? Which part of you do not accept? Sorry, emotional reaction to family's behavior. Okay. What else? Okay. Okay. So we have some data, because how we can help you is only based on the data you provide. Okay. Right. Understood. Yes, Rushalaji, you want to speak? I will unmute you. Can you unmute yourself? आप unmute कर सकते हैं.
आता
Hello.
नमस्ते सर।
आपका नमस्ते. Yes. Yeah.
सर बहुत बार तो ये समझ में नहीं आता है कि किस चीज को लेके एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं है।
Mm-hmm.
मतलब कभी कुछ मतलब वो जो सेल्फ लव वाला जो कॉन्सेप्ट है ना, वही नहीं
Mm-hmm.
समझ में आता। ऐसा लगता है कि वेल ठीक है, खुद जो चाहते हैं वो करना ही सेल्फ लव है, या
Mm-hmm.
एक्सेप्टेंस बोल रहे हैं तो कहाँ पे एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं आ रहा है। समझ में तो आ रहा है समथिंग
Mm-hmm.
मिसिंग देयर, बट व्हाट
Mm-hmm.
एग्जैक्टली व्हाट, यही नहीं
Mm-hmm.
समझ में आता है।
Okay, okay, that's a very good question. So is यही that is the reason why we have created this community, जहाँ पे in the coming sessions, in every sessions we will take one or two case studies, and we will all as a group reflect, and we will come up with a solution to it. For example, lack of self acceptance पे हम लोग आधा घंटा बात कर सकते हैं. We can think about it. We can all come up with some pointers, and then together उसको हम लोग synthesize करके we can try to resolve it. So one of the reasons why we feel confused about why we cannot accept, या ये समझ में क्यों नहीं आता, because we have never looked inside. हमने अंदर झांक के नहीं देखा है. We live very superficially. हम खुद को जानते भी बहुत सुपरफिशियली है, और उसने में ही हम पूरा जजमेंट बना लेते हैं. और दूसरा एक कारण ये भी है कि हमें कभी बचपन में एक बैलेंस करना नहीं सिखाया, कि अपनी अच्छाई और बुराई दोनों को इक्वली आपको नॉन जजमेंटली देखना है. व्हाट वी डू इज, वी आर टॉट कि अच्छे इंसान बनो, अच्छे इंसान बनो. अच्छा इंसान बनना ऑल्सो मीन्स, टू बिकम अ गुड पर्सन ऑल्सो मीन्स टू फेस द part of you which is not yet matured or developed. Yes or no? किसी छोटे बच्चे को आप बोलेंगे कि जल्दी से बड़े हो जाओ, जल्दी से बड़े हो जाओ, या आप उसको बोलोगे कि बिहेव लाइक एडल्ट्स, बिहेव लाइक एडल्ट्स, दैट डज नॉट मेक एनी सेंस. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? So if a kid does not eat like an adult eat, if a kid does not walk like an adult ought, it is because a kid is a kid. So think of the part of you which has weaknesses like a kid. So your whole perspective of seeing yourself will change. Do you understand? Think of every aspect of your personality as an entity. Think of happiness as an entity. Think of love as an entity. Think of caringness. Think of helpfulness as an entity, or let's say a child. And based on how much of that aspect has developed within you, you make your own judgment. Is it young? Is it grown up? Or is it mature? Young, grown up, or growing up and mature. You can make three categories or more. So if it is still a child, or if it's, this aspect of you is still young, acceptance naturally comes when you categorize it, right? Just because your physical body is 40-year-old or 50-year-old or whatever age, that does not mean that every aspect of you is grown. In fact, most people, based on psychological study, most in case of most people, 50-year-olds or 40-year-olds still have an emotional body of 10-year-old or 15-year-old. So the speed of growth of your physical body is not equivalent to emotional growth. This thing you always keep in mind. How many of you agree to this? Now, there are several factors to it. It also depends on the kind of circumstances which have come in your life and how you have perceived them. Like कुछ लोगों का लाइफ होता है जो कम एज से ही they face so many challenges, they undergo so many tests and trials that they grow emotionally much faster. Sometimes they have a physical body of maybe 20, 25-year-old, but the behavior emotionally is equally, it's like almost equal. So mentally and emotionally, these people are more mature than some people who are 50-year-olds. So one of the problems of why we have this problem, मतलब जो emotional challenges वो हमारे life में होते हैं, is the lack of acceptance of this fact that our emotional growing stage speed is different for different people. And it all depends on your circumstances. So कुछ बच्चे for example जो होते हैं, they are so pampered and they were children. Like हमारे पास कई सारे cases आते हैं, you know, divorce cases या relationship healing के cases. So we see when we go to their past, when we go to their childhood, we realize before marriage the girl was extremely pampered, extremely cared by the parent, and had a very different, atmosphere. The child was never exposed to a lot of responsibilities. There was somebody to take care of certain things, and parents also never took effort to train the child or prepare the child for that kind of life or a married life. Do you understand? Like कुछ घरों में बच्चों को बचपन से ही आदत डालते हैं to be स्वाभिमानी, to be independent, to do all the household chores. Yes or no? टू रिस्पेक्ट टू सोसाइटी में उनको इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाता है, मैनर्स सिखाए जाते हैं। कई फैमिली में ऐसा नहीं होता है, सो सबके सर्कमस्टांसेस अलग होते हैं। सो डिपेंडिंग ऑन दैट, व्हेन दिस पर्सन गोज इनटू अ सर्टेन फैमिली, 90% ऑफ द केसेस जहाँ पे हमने देखा है रिलेशनशिप के, ऑल women who go after marriage to their in-laws place, they somewhere have this subconscious expectation कि I will be treated the same way I was treated by my parents. But the reality check is, story is something else. They are the mother-in-law laws, usually they have expectations that she is supposed to play the same role I played. And then ये जो difference of expectations होते हैं, they suddenly clash. And so This person who have never grown emotionally or never had the opportunity or need to grow emotionally suddenly had to grow up and become mature in a few weeks or months. And that is the problem. That creates friction, that creates unnecessary, unrealistic expectations, which when get broken causes a lot of pain. Is it not correct? So one of the things through this program which we want to do is we have to help each other grow emotionally, become, it's like at least in the next 90 days or 100 days, at least if not by several years, emotional evolution should happen at least by 1 year. In 90 days we should evolve by at least 1 year in terms of our emotional growth, become more mature, more understanding by of who we are. As I told you, as I gave you an example, so that you live a much better life physically and psychologically. Your health is better. Your life is much better. So what we do is, before we conclude today's session, let's do a short ritual. Now, in this ritual, what we will do is we will sacrifice fear. ओके, आने वाले सेशंस में विल मेक इट मोर लाइक सिस्टमैटिक. अभी कैसा हो रहा है कि लोगों को इन्फॉर्मेशन मिल रही है इस प्रोग्राम की, एंड देन दे थिंकिंग कि दे ट्राइंग टू अंडरस्टैंड कि दिस प्रोग्राम इज डिफरेंट देन द यूजुअल हीलिंग प्रोग्राम्स. यहाँ पे हम बॉडी माइंड इमोशन सबको इन्वॉल्व कर रहे हैं, एंड वी आर ट्राइंग टू it's like solve a major issue in our life, major emotional challenge, which is not maybe this has not been introduced. I don't know if it was introduced by anyone ever in a nurturing program, but it is my effort to, even if like we can help 50 or 100 people become emotionally much more mature and stronger, independent, happy, it will be the success of the program. So we want to help as many people as possible. So just close your eyes. Now imagine that you are like a small, tiny person, and in front of you is like a big light. This big light is corresponds to even your soul, corresponds to maybe the spiritual beings, higher beings, correspond to the great ones. Think of yourself as a tiny being. Imagine your head bowing forward. Now think of the fear you want to get rid of: fear of being judged, fear of failure, fear of being embarrassed or criticized, fear of rejection, fear of being left alone, fear of being abandoned, fear of insult, fear of not accepted by the maybe in-laws or family or society. Any kind of fear, maybe fear of, some people have fear of sickness, fear of death, fear of hospitalization, fear of accidents, any form of fear. Just think of your most strongest fear. Now you can put your hand in an open, like open your palms as if you're sacrificing something. Be aware of your entire emotional field, which is about 1 meter to 1.5 meter all around you. You say, Lord, I sacrifice to you all my fears. I sacrifice all the desires and tendencies to be fearful and all fear elementals. Lord, I do so humbly sacrifice to you all my fears. I sacrifice. When you say the word fear, after that, fill in the blanks, add fear of whatever your fear is. Lord, I sacrifice. For example, in my case, I have an unconscious fear of driving. It's like whenever I sit on the driving seat, I don't know what happens. There is like an anxiety which happens. Even though earlier in the past I was a very good driver, even though I never had an accident, for some reason there is like this anxiety which triggers when I'm on the driving seat. So whatever is your fear, just think of your fear and you say, Lord, I sacrifice to you my fear of whatever your fear is. I sacrifice all the desires, tendencies, programs, and patterns of fear of and all its negative elementals. Now be still. Allow this brilliant light from surrounding you and above you to penetrate through all the layers of your emotions, emotional body, disintegrating, releasing, processing, and expelling all fear energies, fear programs, fear emotions of fear. I am not the body. I am not my fear. I am not the emotions. I am not the thoughts. Thank you for purifying me of all my fears. I surrender them fully and completely. Now mentally say, Lord, please bless me with courage. Thank you for blessing me with courage, with daringness, with assertiveness, with inner strength to overcome all the subconscious tendencies to be fearful about whatever you are fearful about. Thank you for also blessing me with the understanding of why this fear exists within me. What is the cause of this fear? Where did it originate from? May I have a reflection, a inner guidance, so that I can completely eliminate this fear within me. Thank you, God, for the blessings of soul mastery. With thanks and in full faith. Be still, be aware. The blessings, the healing is deeply interpenetrating your emotional, physical bodies, including all the organs where fear may be stored, and may it be replaced with the energy of courage, daringness, and also with the energy of love. May these blessings be properly absorbed, assimilated by your body and your mind and your emotions now, with thanks and in full faith. To the Supreme God, we thank you, Divine Father, Mother. We thank you, all the great teachers and saints. We thank you, Holy Gurus, Holy Masters, invisible helpers. Thank you for helping us as a group overcome our emotional challenges and become stronger and more compassionate healers, disciples, co workers. With thanks and in full faith. Thank you. Slowly open your eyes. How do you feel? Are you feeling better? Yes. So this was just an example. The techniques will change in different session depending on the need. We will be using different methods of eradicating certain emotions. But what we did was more of invocative approach, where a certain amount of energy, which is an awareness, is healed. But then we have to go deeper. For example, why do we have this kind of fear? Where did it originate from? That is the next question, and then we go deeper. So, in essence, it is said that the fear is the mother of all emotional, challenges or problems that we have. So every session we will reflect on certain emotions deeply. Where did it originated, and then we will try to eradicate it so that you become better and better. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Atma Namaste. Do share the link of this program with others whom you think it can help. Thank you.